Good evening, dear girls. And today we are going to study about human embryonic stem cell research. So, already in the last class, we have studied about stem cell culture, embryonic stem cell culture. And here we are going to see detail about human embryonic stem cell research. So, here are few scope, the promise of stem cell research. It helps to identify drug targets and test potential therapeutics. Then it helps in toxicity testing and it helps to study cell differentiation, helps to understand, prevent and treat many birth defects and so on. Still, so many researchers are going on under this stem cell. Okay, and what are human embryonic stem cells? This also you know already. Undifferentiated cells present in the inner cell mass of human blastocyst embryo are called human embryonic stem cells. Okay, so the undifferentiated cells present in the inner cell mass of human blastocyst embryo are called human embryonic stem cells. Then what is this embryonic stem cell research used for? They are potentially be used to replace, to restore tissues which are damaged by diseases or by injury, such as maybe diseases like diabetes, heart attack, Parkinson's disease, spinal cord injury, and so on. So, these stem cells are very, very potential. So, embryonic stem cell research is potentially very good to treat all these diseases too. Why are embryonic stem cells important for research? See, they are important for research because only embryonic stem cells have the capacity to become any kind of human tissue, and only the embryonic stem cells have the potential to repair vital organs, and studies of adult stem cells are important and will provide valuable insights into the use of stem cell in transplantation. So it's because of all these reasons this embryonic stem cell research is very, very, very important. And then what's the purpose of human embryonic stem cells, by the way? They are used in cell-based therapies to cure several diseases in man. As in the introductory part we have seen, it is used to cure several diseases in man and also to to prepare transplanting cells to cure these diseases like Parkinson's disease, diabetes, then traumatic spinal cord injury, and so on. See, most of these diseases, they don't have known drugs. So, in that case, the purpose of human embryonic stem cell is fulfilled and it's also very essential. And what is human embryonic stem cell research? Researchers on stem cell to treat diseases in humans. Don't confuse. Researchers on stem cell to treat diseases in humans. And this research is progressing day by day and every year towards success. And now we are going to see some of the diseases and how these diseases are cured and what are all the researches done by the scientists to cure certain diseases which has known proper drugs. Here's the first one, that is Parkinson's disease. First you should know what is this Parkinson's disease. See, it is a neurodegenerative disorder seen in 2% of human population over 65 years of age. Usually, this Parkinson's disease attacks people of over 65 years of age. Okay? And then, what happens during this Parkinson's disease and how it affects? See, it is due to the progressive degeneration and loss of dopamine producing neurons. So it's because of the degeneration of dopamine producing neurons. Okay, and this is characterized by trauma, rigidity, and decreased mobility. Usually, the people affected by this Parkinson's disease, they used to have severe pain, and that bones muscles will be very rigid, so that they will be unable to move. Their mobility also will be decreased. And this is the first disease for which embryonic stem cell transplantation was used. And see here, you should know what is this dopamine. See, before that, you just see the difference in the normal person and the Parkinson's affected person's neuron. See here, the level of dopamine is normal, but see here, the level of dopamine is decreased. So this is in the case of Parkinson's affected people. So the movement will be restricted here because of this problem. The decline in the level of dopamine, the normal movement is affected in the case of Parkinson's disease. And now you should know what is this dopamine. See, it is a hormone and a neurotransmitter that plays several important roles in the brain and the body. It's actually a hormone and a neurotransmitter. See here, you can find it is indicated by these red dots. All these are dopamines. These are neurotransmitters that play several important roles in the brain and the body. And usually this is used in the nervous system to send messages between the nerve cells. See, for example, this is one nerve cell and this is another nerve cell, to send messages in between. You just see here, this is in the case of normal persons. If the dopamine level is normal, this will be the production of the dopamine. So normally the sending of messages will be normal and there will be no problem. But once when the level of this dopamine decreases, this Parkinson's disease happens. So that's why, see, since this is sending the messages, that is also said to be a chemical messenger. So it plays important roles in executive function, in motor control, motivation, reinforcement, and so on. And now let's see about the research on Parkinson's disease. Now you know what is Parkinson's disease and how it happens and what is the problem with that. And you know what is dopamine. And now we'll come on to the stem cell research on Parkinson's disease. See, as I have told you already, this Parkinson's disease cannot be cured or treated with no unknown drugs. So scientists, for the first time, they have taken an attempt to cure this Parkinson's disease and they really got success while continuing this research in mouse. Usually we take the experimental model, mouse as the animal model. So here also the same thing. For the research of Parkinson's disease, they have taken this mouse as the experimental specimen. So here what happens and what they did in this research, they have introduced a type of gene, that is NR1 gene, that is nuclear receptor related 1 protein gene. They have introduced this gene in the embryonic stem cells of mouse to differentiate them into dopamine producing neuron. So here in the embryonic stem cells of the mouse, these scientists, they have introduced the NR1 gene. So now what happened? The dopamine are produced in this embryonic stem cells. Then the differentiated neurons are transplanted into the brain of the Parkinson model mouse. Once when these cells, neurons are introduced into the mouse, in the brain of the mouse, These differentiated neurons re-innovated the brain, they released dopamine and improved the motor function. Okay, so that's how they've introduced the NER1 gene in mouse, and see, the same is applicable in the case of human beings also. So just like that, they have tried in the case of, they are attempting in the case of human beings also. They have taken attempts to differentiate the dopamine producing neurons from the human embryonic stems also for the transplantation in the case of Parkinson's patients. Okay, so here are some dead nerve cells, which cannot produce dopamine. But once when the stem cells are implanted, new nerve cells produced dopamine. So now the dopamine transmits the nerve signal. Okay, just a diagrammatic representation. And now come to the second type of disease. So just like that Parkinson's disease, you can also apply this stem cell research in the case of diabetic patients. As you know, it's also very common among people. So type 1 diabetes, it is also known as insulin dependent diabetes, and here the normal cells of the pancreas that produce insulin are destroyed by the patient's own immune system. So that leads to diabetes. Okay. And now about the research on diabetes. A group of scientists isolated the islet cells of pancreas of features, purified them, and introduced them into pancreas of the patient suffering from type 1 diabetes. So once when they introduced them into the pancreas of diabetes patient, it increased the insulin concentration for a few days, and thereafter the insulin concentration decreased slowly. However, the transplanted cells are remained in the pancreas. So this motivated the scientists to develop alternative strategy to differentiate insulin producing cells. Okay, understood? Okay. Then here they have used a gene called PDX1 gene, pancreatic and duodenal homeobox 1. It is a protein coding gene. So they have introduced this protein coding gene. See, this gene can stimulate the expression of insulin producing gene in cells. So see here, you can see in the case of normal people, this is the type of cells. And in the case of type 1 diabetes patients, you can see the beta cells are destroyed. The beta cells are destroyed. Okay. So the gene PDX1 stimulates the expression of insulin producing gene in cells, and some researchers isolated PDX1 gene and introduced it into the human embryonic stem cells to differentiate them into insulin secreting cells. So these insulin secreting cells looks like beta cells of pancreas. So once when we introduce them into the affected people, the destroyed beta cells can be recovered. So see here how to treat using the beta cells introduction. These beta cells were introduced into the pancreas using laparoscopic device, and then the introduced cells formed islets like groups of cells and produced insulin continuously in the patient. This treatment diverted diabetes status in the patients. So this technique has been tried to cure diabetes in clinical laboratories. And finally, about heart muscle repair. So just like this Parkinson's disease, and in the case of diabetics patients, already the stem cell therapy they have started, they are doing it, and it's also possible to repair damaged heart muscles and blood vessels in mouse and other animals using stem cells. That is the stem cell therapy for the heart. They find the injured or damaged part of the heart, and through the laparoscopy method, the stem cell therapy can be done. But still, the researchers are working under this. They are on the way to develop this technology for humans to repair the human heart muscles and also blood vessels. So, hope this human embryonic stem cell research will bring more technology development and helps in the detection, prevention, and treatment of so many diseases which are without known drugs, as well as which are very difficult to cure normally. Thank you.